Hi there, I'm Shannon Russell, and I have been guided to create, to share this experience with you. Actually, I'm not really creating anything, I've been guided to share this experience with you, and I am meant to call it Listening to the Energy of Australia. And the purpose of it is to help understand or receive the messages from what's going on in Australia with the wildfires right now, as well as help to energetically calm the fires and just help the rain come in. I feel it is like there's just a lot going on in Australia right now with the fires and with the heat and with the dryness and with the lack of rain. And the other day, a couple days ago, I just happened to be in the shower and I received an intuitive message and an intuitive calling that I am meant to do what I've been given to do, to share the skills that I've been given to work with the energy of that and listen to the energy of that, but also share the messages of what I'm translating, I guess is the best way to describe it. So what I'm translating through the energy that I'm picking up. So I just want to share a little bit about me before we begin. I'm a mom, and I love sports, and there's just all of these pieces about me, everyday life, like as like I'm a hockey mom, I'm a ball mom, I am very active in the community, so I have what I would call a very normal life. But I'm also very passionate about personal growth and intuitive healing, and through my own personal journey of life and the pursuit of health and happiness, I have, whether it's been given or just opened up some very unique and cool skills and abilities and gifts through my own journey of like learning about who I am and this pursuit of health and happiness that I've been on for several years now. So a year ago, when I was in Maui, and I had a very profound experience which helped connect a lot of like dots for me about my past and about my life and just about different things that have happened to me that just didn't really make sense at the time, but kind of stuck in the back of my mind. And it had to do with ancestral energy and the ancestors of Maui, as well as the weather patterns that were happening in Maui at that time while I was there. And just that the ancestors connected with me or called to me for help and to help release some stuff and work through some things that they never got a chance to deal with while they were alive. And they were carrying a lot of like thoughts and beliefs about their life experience, but also a lot of pain and a lot of trauma and a lot of guilt and a lot of emotions just from a lot of different generations of human history of the people of Maui. And that was a very heart-opening, eye-opening, like, wow moment, series of moments for me, like I say, about a year ago. And so since then, I've just kind of like got back to everyday life and driving my kids around and working on personal growth and doing what I do. And it was kind of ironic because like hindsight is always 2020. But after I got back from Maui and I was sharing my experience with a friend of mine, she actually said to me a year ago, the next place that's going to ask for your help is Australia. Or the next place that you will help is Australia. And I was like, oh, really? Like, what's going on there? And I apologized to Australia that, like, I'm in Canada, and I didn't know how dry you guys were even a year ago. So like I'm not much for news, or what I get, but I don't always go like seeking information. I just let it come to me. So I didn't know, but even a year ago, Australia was very, very dry. And because my Maui experience was very much relating to rain, my friend of mine said, well, you need to go to Australia and help them get rain. And I laughed it off, and I actually completely forgot about it, because I thought, well, I will if I get the call, so to speak, right? It's like I'm not just gonna go there seeking like what I should be doing. It's just that like, but if I get the call, I will do whatever I can to help. And so it's funny, like the other day in the shower when all this was coming through, and like I had like songs coming into my head that were relevant to rain, and I remembered like all of the water stuff that I have had throughout my whole life, of like leaking appliances and like water in my house and water in my walls, and like my walls are raining, and just it's been very odd. And I feel that I'm starting to like logically understand it better now, since my Maui experience, but it's still a bit of a mystery to me. However, I got the call, and I got the instructions of what I was meant to do, but it's a little bit different this time, because like when I was in Maui, the energy of an ancestor like was in my car with me, and it set off the passenger seat belt beep and light, even though there was nobody in the passenger seat. So I had like physical things happening that got my attention to like you need to listen, and you're getting a call, so to speak. But this time it was just coming into my mind, and I kind of had to sit with it for a day, because when I was in Maui, I just went and I did what I needed to do, and I listened and I helped, and it was all intuitive, energetic stuff, and I like nobody knew what I was doing, and I was by myself, and I didn't have to or didn't need to share it with anyone. I have told a few people here and there about that experience, and I've written a little bit about it, but this time what was coming to me was that like I need to record it, and I need to share it, and I need to like help like I need to help whatever is coming or whatever will come, but I also need to record it and get it out to people so that I can share it, because I'm meant to share it, and I'm meant to help create awareness, and I'm meant to just like allow other people to watch and be a part of this experience that I am meant to have. So this is a little bit different. So I had to just kind of let it sink in and sit with it for a bit. But last night, right before bed, I was in the bathroom and doing what I needed to do, and then I like flushed the toilet, and the toilet started running and like not leaking on the floor, but the tank was leaking, and like the water just kept running and it wouldn't stop, and we had to like shut the water off like at the wall so that the toilet wouldn't just like run and run and run and run and run all night. And my partner said to me, he's like, okay, you set the water off again, like you need to be doing something, because now the water is happening again. And so that was my physical indication, or my physical reinforcement that yes, like I am meant to do this, I am meant to share this, I am meant to listen and just see where it goes. So basically I'm saying yes, and I hit record, and I really have no idea what to expect, because I will be working intuitively, and when you do that, you're not thinking, you're just receiving and sharing what comes through. So I don't know how long this will be. I don't know what will come through. I don't know what I'll see or what I'll feel right now. But I'm recording it. So whatever comes through is like, whatever I share is what is coming through, and I will not leave anything out or skirt around anything, because part of what I am, or part of my philosophy on life, is that truth is so important, no matter what that truth is or how it comes through. So I've never been to Australia. I don't know all of like the terms and the lingo and the proper terminology of things. So I do apologize if I get some of my wording wrong, or if it's not super clear, or I'm using like North American language to describe something that, you know, is similar but different in Australia. So I apologize for that ahead of time, because it may happen. It came to me that may happen. So I'm like, I'll just get it out on the table right away. And I will have my eyes closed sometimes, because I'm very visual, and it's just easier, like rather than staring off into space, I'll just close my eyes and I will talk and share what I'm seeing and what I'm receiving, and I will describe it as best as I can to all of you. So I'll mention it now, because after I might be a little bit like disconnected from my thinking mind, or from my like logic. But if you have any questions at all, or you want to get in touch with me because of something resonated with you in this experience, or you wanted to reach out to me, you can find me and contact me through my website at shannonrussell.ca. So ShannonRussell.ca. So I'll just mention that now in case I forget. And I'm not sure if I'm meant to do more than one of these, but I just know that I am meant to answer the call from the energy of Australia and translate and share what I'm getting and what is coming, what's being sent to me. And it's meant to be called Listening to the Energy of Australia. And that's all I know right now. That's all I've been given. So I'm just gonna see if there's anything else that I meant to mention before we begin. So just give me 1 second. Nope, it feels good. Okay, I can just kind of sense, like, is there more or is it clear? And it felt clear. So what I'm going to, so I'm already seeing like the shape of the continent of Australia with a big heart in the middle of it. Oh, I might get emotional actually. So I'm just gonna make sure I have my box of Kleenexes, because oftentimes when I'm doing this, like I feel also what I'm receiving, and like I already kind of feel a little bit emotional, like as soon as I mention the heart. So it's not me per se, it's the feelings attached to the energy that's coming through. And so there we go. That's where I'm meant to start, because there's just something about like the heart of Australia, and it's hurting. So the heart of Australia is hurting because I can feel it. And it's like once I share once I express what the feeling is, usually the emotion goes away, because it just wants to be heard and it just wants to be acknowledged. So usually once I do that, once I like receive what the feeling is and I express the emotion and put words to the emotion, usually like the emotion itself that I'm feeling will calm and release. So I might do that a few times. I might do that the whole time. I'm not sure. But yes, so I might have to blow my nose sometimes too. I apologize. But the heart, so my throat chakra just kind of globbed there. The heart of Australia is hurting. But it's a very strong heart. Like I can see it's a very deep, like it's not vibrant red right now, because it's hurting, but it's a very strong red. And it's right in the center of the shape of the continent that I'm seeing. And I just see that the continent itself is kind of a brown color with the blue ocean around it, and then like this deep, it's a very like, it's just a very rich red. That's the word. Yeah, it's a very rich red heart, taking up like a good portion of the center of the island, or of the continent that I'm seeing of Australia. So we're gonna start there. I'm just gonna close my eyes and just see where else this is meant to go, and just ask that the ancestors or the energy or the like whatever and whoever sent the call out to me, to please, like, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm ready and willing to receive whatever I am meant to translate and share with other people. So it's asking me to go into the heart. So I'm just going into the heart, and I just see like the plants and the animals and the people, but it's more of like pre-industrial time. Like it's a very, I'm just gonna close my eyes again. It's a very like nature based, like, and I see water flowing like kind of down a little waterfall with the misty water, and then a river, and it's kind of like coming over like a bit of like, not a cliff, but just like a bit of a rise in the land. And I just see like, I see kangaroos, and I see just like all of these plants, and it's very lush and it's very healthy, and there are people there too, but they're more like, the more primitive, I would say. Like, I'm just getting the word like less complicated. Just, it's more of a simple time. And I'm getting like, it's a time where man and nature like lived in harmony together. And where people were still very connected to the land, and they were very much like interwoven with nature, and interwoven with the water and with the plants and with the animals, and like, and this, like, it, I'm actually seeing it as like a cartoon. So I don't know if it's the past, or I don't know if it's maybe the future, because I'm not seeing like just First Nations people or Aboriginal people, like the original people of Australia. Like, I'm also seeing like Caucasian people. So it's possible that this is in the future, and the symbolism of it is like, well, what I'm getting is that like natural disasters have a way of opening people's hearts and reconnecting people to what matters the most. And I definitely feel some emotion there. I'll try not to cry, but if I let you know that I'm feeling emotion, when I feel it, maybe I can avoid the tears. Which, whatever, if I cry, I cry. It's not the end of the world, but it's just, my voice gets shaky, and then it's gonna wreck my makeup. So I just see like, to my left is the fires and the dryness and like the pain. Like I'm just getting like so much pain. And then the heart, and then I guess it is after, where it's like, then after, people are more connected again. People are more in tune with nature and with the animals and with the water and like just with the land, because of the destruction and because of all like just like the tragedy and the like, I don't even have a word for it, the devastation of what these fires are causing. And fires are very destructive, very, very destructive. But they also, it's like they wipe everything away so that nature can start fresh again. But I'm also getting that like it doesn't have to get to that point, but it had to this time. It had to get to this point this time. And like nature always has a plan, whether it's started by people or not, because the conditions for crazy fires were in place before the fires were ever lit. And that's an important piece to acknowledge and to include, is that if people started these fires, or if lightning started them, it really doesn't even matter who or what started them. It's more important to realize that the conditions for, and I just see Australia with all of the red dots of where all the fires are, like on a map kind of thing. The conditions for all of these fires to just erupt and to just consume so much of the land, those conditions existed before the fire ever started. And that is more important to acknowledge than, well, how did the fire start and who started the fires and whatever, because it was like nature was already showing you that things were out of balance because of how dry it was. And sometimes I feel like we as people, and I am going to say we because I'm no different than anybody else on any other, in any other country, from any other culture, from any other anything. But we as people sometimes don't notice or don't know what nature's trying to tell us. Because a lot of us have lost our ability to know how to listen. And I know like I forgot how to listen, or I didn't know that I knew how to listen until I realized that I did. And that's been a progression for me. But these natural disasters are a way of the universe or of nature of like getting our attention and opening our hearts and like opening up like our compassion and our like reinstating our connection to nature and to the animals and to the plants and to the earth, and that like pay attention to us again. Like we're screaming at you because we need you to pay attention to us again. And I'm feeling emotion, so I'm just gonna mention that now, that it's like nature doesn't like having to get to the point where there's so much destruction and that like people are losing their belongings and they're losing their lives and like all of these animals are dying. But when it needs to happen, it happens. And it's just that like there are things that people can do to help proactively prevent this degree of devastation from happening. Because it's not just about like the houses and the things of people. It's about the animals, and it's about the landscapes, and it's about like the air, and it's about the natural elements in nature as well that are being affected by these fires. Just need a second. And part of that is that I just see it as a tipping point, or as like those old, I'm gonna say old-fashioned, but the old-fashioned scales where like the universe and nature has a balance, and when the balance is manageable, like there's always like give and take, and there's always like bending, and there's always movement. Like nothing is ever still with nature, right? But people have a way of like tipping the scales, and tip, and energetically people have a way of like spiking the scales. And because of our unresolved energy, and because of like our minds, and because of our pain, and because of our trauma, and because of like just our emotions, and all of these things that we go through in a day after day, lifetime after lifetime, family member after family member, like generation after generation. And if there is too much of this for too long, and it's unresolved, or it's not healed, or it's like energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just moves around. And so when it's, well, fire is a very strong energy. Like you could think of anger, you could think of hurt, you could think of like hatred, you could think of pain. There's a lot of emotions that like fire would be connected to, right? So when you think of fire, you think of like hot, you think of force, you think of like strong, you think like, for me, I feel that fire is very masculine. And so what's coming to me is just that like there was just like too much of that masculine energy of like being strong and being tough, and like I got this, and like I can do this, and like I don't need help, and I'm strong, and we're survivors, and we got this, and we don't have to depend on anybody else. And like I just see like how the island is just like in the middle of a lot of water, and maybe at times through the generations people have felt separated and segregated and off on your own island. Like literally, it's like we are off on our own island, and we have to find a way to survive, and we've got to do this on our own, and we can't rely on other countries or other people or other anything. It's just like we've got this. And it's a very strong energy and a very masculine energy. But again, like, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It was necessary in those generations. And like, I do feel the ancestors now, and I do feel that the ancestors are telling me like how it was for them, and the mentality that they had to have, and like how strong they had to be, and how hard they had to work, and like the elements that they had to deal with, and the conditions, and like the bugs and the snakes, and like it was not easy to tame Australia. But what's coming to me is that like water is very feminine, and it's nurturing, and it's life, it gives life. And it's like, for me, water has always been connected to emotions. And so it's like, it's the ability to be vulnerable and open and like express our emotions and to like shed the tears. Like, because of the drought and because of like, it's like before the fires ever started, what's coming to me right now is like before the fires ever started, I'm feeling like really emotional. Like, as things are getting close to me translating them, like it's like I often will feel the emotion of it first before I even have the words to it. So okay, I'm just like gathering myself here for a second. But before the fires ever started, it's like Australia forgot how to cry. And they forgot, like, and I'm not saying it's like the current generation even, or like, I'm not saying it's like any group of people in particular or any town or any community in particular. It's the energy of it. But it's just that like the energy of Australia forgot or became imbalanced with their ability to like cry and to be soft and to be gentle and to be like nurturing, and I just get the word like gentle and feminine and feminine. And I'm not at all saying like women there are not feminine or they're like, I am not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's like the energy. It's the energy. It's maybe like the energy shifted too much to the masculine. Like I say, it's the scales and it's the balance. And when we tip too far in one direction, then the other half, the yin and the yang, yin and yang, it's like there's too much of one and not enough of the other. And I feel that like the dryness and the drought was nature's way of saying like, hey, the energy is out of balance, whether it's current day, past, like from the past. Well, basically we only have, well, not only, but my awareness is that like we've got the past, we've got the present, we've got the future. And the past and the present affect the future, and they mold the future into whatever it's meant to be. And so because the energy got too tipped towards the masculine, it's not even my opinion, it's like what I'm being shown and what I'm being told is that there just wasn't enough of the feminine energy. There just wasn't enough of like the vulnerability and the softness and the like the tears and the openness and the like willingness to ask for help or to be helped or to be held or to be a lot of things that a lot of people would call weak, but they're not. They're just the other side. They're just the feminine side. They're just the more nurturing, compassionate, gentle side. And so what I'm being shown right now is just that like through so many generations of having to be strong and having to like deal with some pretty intense elements and intense nature and intense conditions and intense geography, there just got to be too much masculine energy, and it like literally like dried up the clouds, and it dried up the moisture, and it dried up the rain, and it dried up the feminine energy. And so again, like, I don't know how, and I know, like, there's probably been dry spells here and there forever, and there's probably been dry areas and wet areas, and then the dry areas get rain, and then the wet areas get dry. And again, I don't know the history of Australia. I'm just sharing the messages that are coming with me, coming with me. Okay. They're coming with me. But they're coming to me. And it's just that, like, in order to help calm these fires and calm the energy and allow the clouds to form again, there's got to be a shift in that energy. And I'm able to help the ancestors and the people that have passed. I'm able to help them right now in this moment as we progress through the messages that I'm receiving, and I'm willing to help, and I'm happy to help. It's just that well, obviously there are people that are alive right now that could hear this as well and sit with it for a bit and just ask themselves, like, have I lost my balance with the feminine? Have I lost my balance with the feminine energy? Have I lost my balance with being able to be vulnerable and be soft and be gentle? And it is about balance, because sometimes we do need to be strong, but maybe we don't need to be strong and like push 100% of the time or 80% of the time. Like, what if balance is 40 to 60? Right? The range of balance where the harmony is, and the harmony definitely, and like homeostasis range is before anything spikes or before anything drops. And so what I'm getting is that, like, the feminine energy dropped too far and the masculine energy spiked, which is why the rain went away and the fires started, and the conditions, or the drought started, or the dryness started, and then the conditions led to fire because the balance was not restored. It still was like, I'm getting 20-80. It was still like 20% feminine energy, 80% masculine energy. And it didn't shift enough. It didn't shift soon enough. It didn't shift fast enough before there's that tension in the balance, like in the 100%, right? Like 20 plus 80 is 100, before it broke and before it snapped. And sometimes when something, like, I'm going to use this example, sometimes when something is too far this way and there's too far this way, and you've got too big of a gap in between, when the force of that breaks, the tension of it, when the tension of it breaks, you have a big crash, or you have a big thing that happens, because it literally like breaks in a big way. It's not a gentle, it's like a big crash. And I just see, like, that's what the fires are. That's what the fires are. Because the balance was not able to be restored in a harmonious way from the signs and from the signals of nature that were trying to get people's attention for however long. I don't know. I'm getting like 2 to 5 years that nature has been trying to give people signs. And I'm getting that, like, the majority of this imbalance was caused by people's energy. It wasn't caused by nature's energy. It was caused by people's energy. And I feel emotional again. I feel like nature cries quite a bit. Like the symbolism of nature, or the I said I wasn't going to look off to the side. I was going to close my eyes, but I have a blank wall over here. And so my eyes are open, but yeah, anyway, I just thought of that. I was like, I said I was going to close my eyes, but I've been staring off into space, but I'm actually staring at a blank wall so that I can like almost like see the images on the wall. But like nature cries quite a bit about like, they just wish people knew, or like the energy of nature. And like, I feel like even the animals, they just wish people knew like how to see these signs better and how to like recognize when nature is trying to tell them something or tell us something. And so that right there was just like nature and the animals like getting their emotions through to me to express to you, that like it's like it makes them sad to have to like create all of this destruction, or to go through all of this destruction and all of this like pain and suffering and all of that, because like plants feel it too. Plants feel fire too, is what they're telling me. And it's hard for them that people don't know how to listen, and that people don't know what the signs are, or like what to watch for. It just like, again, like, I'm not gonna say that like the kangaroos are crying, but like they feel it, because like, how can you not, right? They're living things, and the water is a living thing, and the fire is a living thing, and the ground is a living thing, and it's all in an energetic way. It's all energetically alive. It all energetically has a vibration. And I'm just seeing like a big rock. This big rock, this big brown, dark brown boulder thing is even saying like, even I have an energy, even though it's very dense. And like, even I have a vibration, even though it's very dense, and it's like it's like a very like subtle vibration, but there's still a vibration. And so even the big old boulders are saying like they have an energy and they have a vibration. And if people would just like tune into them, we could all learn a lot. And I guess that's kind of a skill that I've been given. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a farm kid, and I was always very connected to nature as a kid. Like, I'm really not sure, but for whatever reason, I have allowed myself to be able to like feel and listen and receive the messages that energetically we all could be receiving and hearing and sensing and experiencing. So I'm just gonna sit for a sec and just see. Okay, it didn't take long. So I'm just gonna blow my nose, so just give me 1 second. Because the ancestors are sitting with me now. So it was almost like I had to listen to the animals and the fire and the drought, like the plants. I had to listen to them and hear their messages and understand, like, on an abstract symbolic level, what they're experiencing. And now I just like am feeling that I'm seeing the word ancestors. Like, it's like, I'm not even like seeing faces. Well, I'm getting like little images now. Like when I say the word ancestors, I see like the indigenous people. And then like the first people, the first non-indigenous people that came to Australia. And I just see like the bugs and the snakes and like the hot weather and the conditions. Like, I'm just seeing the conditions, and that it wasn't easy for them, and that it was like trying to tame a wild creature of some kind, and learning how to, well, see, I'm getting that the indigenous people didn't try to tame it. The indigenous, so again, this is just what I'm getting. This is not like a personal opinion whatsoever, because I don't know. I wasn't there. But the message that I'm getting is that the indigenous people didn't try to tame Australia. They learned to live with it, and they learned to work with it, and they learned to like survive without controlling it, I'm getting. But that's not the white man's way. Like, the white man's way is to tame and control and box things up and make nature work for it and work with it, instead of us working with nature. We make nature work for us or with us. And so when the first non-indigenous people came, they tried to like tame it. They tried to tame Australia and like contain it. And that was their way of surviving in that environment. And I'm not saying any way is wrong or any way is right. It's just that there's two different ways. And so that's where the need to be strong and this like imbalance need to be strong came from, because I feel that I say First Nations, but I think maybe Indigenous is a better word. I'm not sure. But I feel that the Indigenous people, they had to be strong, and they were strong, and they definitely had a lot of strength with what they were, how they lived, and with how they worked with the resources, and they worked with what was there. But again, what I'm getting is that like that for the most part was still in the balance, like the 60-40. That was still in the balance. But whenever people try to control something or break it, like even like in Canada, like they broke the land and they broke the horses and like they cleared the forest, and like it's very like aggressive techniques and patterns and behaviors. And so what I'm getting is that like the imbalance started with the non-Indigenous people arrival. And because it was all about like breaking the land and harnessing the resources and controlling the animals and like breaking the spirit of the animals so that the animal would work for them. And that's where this like masculine imbalance kind of started. And like it wasn't so much about like, again, it wasn't like receiving what the land and the animals and the plants and the water had to give. It was about like creating structured things so that you could have like a field of potatoes instead of like having to like forage for potatoes or find potatoes, or like, I'm just using potatoes. I don't even know if you guys have potatoes over there, to be honest, but it just was like very like structured and very controlled and very like, well, we're going to set things up this way because it's more efficient and it works better and you have more and it can be a controlled environment and da 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 da. But that's a lot of masculine energy. Like anything controlled is a very masculine energy. And so what I'm getting is just that like it became a very like masculine energy environment through generations and generations and generations of this type of mentality. And it just got too far. The imbalance got too great. And it wasn't all at once. It's been a progression. And so when I see the word ancestors, I'm just getting like, they like, hindsight is 2020, and I do feel that when you're on the other side, like once your life is done and you're just an energy being, a conscious energy being, by the way, the consciousness is still there. You see things differently. It's like a bird's eye view, and you can just kind of see what's going on from a different perspective, because you're not like down on earth in it. You're no longer like in the perspective. You can like be above and like bird's eye view, like see things from a different perspective and like view things in a different way. And so what I'm getting now is just like the ancestors are saying like they've been watching for a while and they've been reflecting for a while. And it's not that they did things wrong. It's just that they had a mindset and they had a way of seeing life, and they had a way, like their programming or how they viewed life at that time and how they viewed the world at that time was very much from a masculine perspective, a masculine energy perspective. And I'm just asking them right now, like, would you, like, are you asking me to help you? And I'm getting like, no, not today. Just share the awareness today. So in the past, when I've connected with the ancestors and they've like shared so much with me and I've like learned from them, in the past, they usually ask for help and they want help to release this energy and they want help to like clear it. But when I ask today, they're just saying like, no, not yet. Get the message out first is what I'm being told. It's like, get the message out, share this with people, and then like come back to us is what they're saying. Like, then come back to us. So I'm just gonna sit for a moment. I'm just asking, like, have I translated and have I like shared the messages that they wanted me to share? And they're just saying like, yes, you have, and like, thank you, and don't be afraid to share it with people. So I'm gonna be brave and put my own ego aside of like, I don't know what people are gonna think, but the message is the message, and I am willing to answer the call when I am called. And I just want to thank them, or I am thanking them for the opportunity to like receive the message, and that they asked me to receive the message, because it is very humbling, and it is very it means a lot to me, even though it's in a different format than how most people communicate with people. But what they're saying to me is like, it's so important for people to learn how to communicate with people who are no longer here, and to like listen to people, to the energy of people who are no longer like physically here, because the energy of everyone is accessible, that like past or present. And they're just saying to me like, it's so important for people to learn how to connect, and how to listen, and then how to like help if help is needed, and to help. Like, I'm just getting like the 60-40 balance is so important, and that like if we as living people on this planet would just really pay closer attention to the signs that like nature gives us, because again, what I'm being told is that like nature and the ancestors and energy are so interconnected, and like we're so interconnected with energy and with nature, and like with the past, and with like everything from everywhere. And we're just little micro beings of the macro picture, but not just what's happening in this lifetime right now. It's like from the whole picture, from forever. And it's just that like when the whole picture gets too far out of balance, because we continue to add to the picture, and we continue to like pile our own stuff onto the whole picture, that's when these things happen. And it is necessary when they happen. However, what I'm being shown is that like it's not necessary to be to this degree of extreme if we would just learn to listen sooner, and if we would just pay attention sooner, and if we would get more in tune with the subtle signs and the subtle messages before it's like an ass whooping, basically. And there's so much destruction and so much pain and so much like devastation. Okay, so the biggest message from the ancestors today that they would like me to share with you is just that like 60-40 is good. 60-40 is a good range. It's a good balance. It's a good place to live in and have harmony. And that like nature always sends signs if it gets too far in one direction or the other. And it is up to us to start to see that and start to pay attention. I'm just getting like pay attention, like fine tune your skills and fine tune like your senses to like pay attention to these signs and to the messages and like, yeah, like every time something leaks in my house, or there's weird water with anything, like I'm paying attention, because I just know it's like there's a message in that. Like I need to pay attention. Like this isn't just a leaky tap, or this isn't just a leaky toilet like randomly at this moment. Like there's a reason for it. And so I'm just kind of reconnecting with the energy of the ancestors right now. And I'm just asking, like, are the ancestors holding the imbalanced energy? Like, are you still holding the imbalanced energy? And I'm getting a yes, but I'm getting that, like, I'm just getting, like, today is not the day for that work, today was the day that you, like, you meaning me, so they're talking to me and I'm saying what they're saying, but they're saying like, today is the day that you get the message out, and I'm just getting like, take it from there. And that they do want help, and they do need help, and that there are energetic imbalances that are making things more escalated, and that are like keeping the ground dry, and it's like not allowing the moisture to come, and not allowing the rain to form. And that if the energy is balanced, the rain will come, because the energy is connected to nature, and like the elements and the weather is a part of nature. And so when the energy is balanced, then nature is balanced, and the weather is balanced. And like when you need rain, like I'm just getting like, the earth knows that it needs rain. Like the earth has known for years that it needs rain, but the energy has been imbalanced, and the energy has disallowed the earth from receiving rain. And it's just, the energy has continued to be more masculine, and like compounding masculine, and it just gets drier and drier and drier and drier. And so it's like, but nature knows how to correct itself when the energy is corrected, or when the energy, like, and the thing is that like nature has a way of correcting itself, and it is correcting itself right now, but it doesn't have to be to this extreme. Like what I'm getting is like, people can help balance the energy, because people have very much contributed to the imbalance of energy, and people can 100% help rebalance the energy. It's just, you got to be aware of it, and you know that you need to know that it's there, and you need to know that it's out of balance, and you need to like have that desire to say like, what can I do to help balance this energy? Like what do I got to do? And what I'm getting is like, we just need to reconnect with the feminine, and we need to, like, I'm just getting like, you just need to cry, and you just need to like allow the feminine energy to like come from within you again. And like, whether you want to, or you know how to connect with the ancestors to help them as well, well, that's up to you. That's your decision. But what I'm getting is like, if again, it's like, the more people that connect with their feminine, and like get to know it again, it's just like, that will help rebalance the energy, and it will help calm the masculine. Because I'm just getting like, because the masculine is out of control right now. Like the masculine energy is out of control. It got way too far. I'm seeing again like 80-20. It got way too far. It's way too strong. It got out of hand. And now it's like, if we focus on the feminine, the masculine will calm, because everything is part of the whole. Like, so everything adds up to 100%, right? So if it's not about, again, it's not about taming the masculine or like kicking out the masculine. It's about like allowing the feminine to increase, and allowing the feminine to rise, and naturally the masculine, because it's got to work within the 100%, naturally the masculine will like reduce and find its balance again. So I'm just gonna ask if there's anything else. I'm just seeing like, right now, the best thing that people can do from an energetic standpoint, like I'm like, keep doing all the physical things that you're doing, and keep saving those. I'm like so emotional again instantly, but like, keep saving the animals, and keep like having compassion for the landscape and compassion for the animals and like compassion for like what's going on in your country or in the country of Australia, like, because there's people from other places that can listen to this and watch this and like help in their own energetic way as well. Because again, like, I guarantee that Australia is not the only part of the world that is dealing with a little too much masculine energy piled up right now. And it's just that, like, keep doing all the physical stuff that you're doing and keep fighting those fires and keep caring is the word that's coming. But I was here, or I am here, to share with you that, like, there's things that we can do in an energetic way to help reinstate the balance and reinstate the harmony and, like, literally, like, open up the doors so that rain can come again. And rain and moisture and water is the feminine. And it's the life giver. And the more we know that and the more we like connect the dots with that, again, it's like what's happening is happening and what's done is done, but we can help energetically to like calm those fires and bring that rain from an energetic, like in an energetic way. So that we're working on more than just one level. We're working on the physical, but we're also working on the in an energetic way. So I'm just asking, like, am I done? Is that everything for today? And I got a yes. So if you stuck with me right till the very end here, I just want to say thank you and that I appreciate you, and I appreciate the space that you've given me to share what I was meant to share with you. And if you would like to contact me or learn more or ask questions, by all means, feel free to contact me through my website at shannonrussell.ca. Thanks so much.